Okay. Finished twisting the wire and made sure this would reach the front power switch. The next step is this would be for power to the switch, but we also need some black wires running from the ground bus that's going to fan out to the circuit board for ground. I'm just looking ahead here to find some final images to make sure. Yep, there's the ground. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to get some black wire for ground. I've got solid and stranded, and they're showing, I would think the stranded is a larger gauge, and I would think, yeah, we would use the stranded, which is a larger gauge, and yeah. And that's kind of what it's showing. So I'm going to need enough to fan out over to the, I'm going to get more than enough. Equal length. I'll need to strip one in for now. I'm going to use a 16. What I'm going to do is, before I twist this on the ground bus, is just tin the end a little bit so it doesn't defray. Or fray. I think I unplugged my soldering iron. This is one of those ones that heats up quickly. Let me see what kind of field of view we have here. So just tin the tips of them. So you can bend them around. little bend. I'm going to pull nice and tight like that to get a good mechanical connection, just like a knot, just like that. I mean, that is really tight. I'm at 700, roughly 700 degrees. Good connection. I'm going to cut that when it cools a little bit. Show you this side here. Come up. Not too close to the insulation. And I got a little too close to the insulation, but okay. These are going to fan out to the circuit boards for circuit board ground. The pictures show these attached to that tab. I already soldered that, and these can go anywhere on the ground bus. Making progress. All right, let's see what's next. Okay. Here's what the directions just say. Do a whole lot of stuff with, just do it. And so I'm just, and they don't really say don't solder this yet and wait, nothing like that. But I can kind of tell from the pictures that there's going to be a lot going on here. So first, pin 2 of XLR gets a red. Let's take it one by one. Okay. This is tricky soldering. Made that look easy. Pin 2 of XLR gets a red that's ultimately going to go to there. Got a little extra. Pin 3 gets a black. That's right there, it's going to go to there ultimately. And these are the black non-stranded. These are the black solid core. I wonder if I should shrink those up. Black and red will go like that. Cut a little more insulation off than I needed to. It's not like I'm ever going to touch, but I just wonder what the teeniest, weeniest little is what I have here. Let's see. Let me see what the yellow will do. Cut it in half. All right. Got to unplug my soldering iron to plug in the, otherwise I'll blow a circuit breaker. Alright, maybe I should end part 3 today, soon. I don't want these to be more than an hour a day. And I'm not cutting, I'm not producing. After all this, I don't have time for it. Let me see if I can get one more step done. I know these are going to ultimately go over to here, but there's other things soldered. So these can't get soldered yet. Twisted pair, white and green. For the speaker binding posts. Twisted pair, white and green. Well, they didn't give me white and green. I got white and I got blue. White is solid, blue is stranded. And I see blue has another use. Blue's got another use. So I've got a white. I don't have a green. You jokers didn't give me a green. Gave me a gray. You gave me a gray. You don't want solid, for speaker binding posts, you don't want this tiny solid wire. You want stranded. Yeah, you want stranded and you want a larger gauge. So it's not going to be this, I've got a blue that's stranded and a heavier gauge, but okay, I'm going to go check downstairs to make sure I didn't miss something, but they didn't give me the white and the green stranded for the speaker binding posts. I don't have it. Didn't come with the kit. Don't have it. Fortunately, I got tons of cable, tons of wire here myself. I'm gonna go look and see if I forgot it downstairs. Otherwise, I'll go get my own. All right, I'm gonna have to use my own wire. They said white and green. And it's got to reach from the speaker binding posts over to the PC boards. This stuff here is hard to twist, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something interesting. Not interesting. Plug in my heater again, my heat gun. Okay, these are going to be the positive and negative for the speaker binding post over to the boards, the output transistors. And they are going to be a twisted pair, but I want to seal them together on both ends. I'm going to start with just a little collar of heat shrink. Get that gun going. Got to heat up the gun a little bit. And to reach the heat sinks, to go from one of the binding posts over to the board is only a few inches. But because it's going to be twisted pair, this wire is not really conducive to twisting. It's not compliant. And I'm not going to give it the tightest twist in the world. I'm not doing a super tight, like one of those tube amplifier twists. Oh, this is going to be ugly. Hope it's going to reach. God, I hate doing this. I hate doing this as much as you hate watching it, if anyone's ever going to even watch this part. It's like watching water boil. Oh, it's ugly twisted pair. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Only a mother could love this twisted pair. It's like having two ugly twins. They're a twisted pair. That will definitely reach the circuit board, and I'm going to make, I don't know how much to, oh yeah, that's way more than I need. So what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and cut. Take that shrink. One there. Get it down as far as it can go. See, in that way, it holds your twisted pair together while you're working on it. Let's get one of these. I don't like doing too much at the same time. Let's get one of these. I'm gonna do one and then we'll call it a day because I'm getting tired. Okay, make a twisted pair, white and green, long enough to reach the PC boards. Attach the white to the RCA pin, green to the ground. Green to the tab. Okay, so now they show the tabs down. See, before they showed them up and now they show them down, but they are where they are. So the green goes to the tab. Get that locked in there. Come on, man. I don't like having little frays coming out. Gosh, gotta plug that soldering iron. Almost done. Okay. All right. White. Let's do one more because white is going to go. This is going to be tricky. White's going to go in there along with black. That's going to get all right. Here's where we get a little tricky. So let's skim that. Get this a little more like that. Let's see if we can tie these together in a nice tight loop like that. I'm going to pre-tin it. Okay, now I'm going to cut. If I could get that to stay in place by itself, just based on the tension of the wire, but I don't. Well, that'll do it. Let's see if that stays in place. That would be nice. Nope. Okay. Okay, here's where we are.
Call from Madison VA.
A little bit lumpy there,
Call
but
from Madison VA.
all right. Went ahead and did the second twisted pair and got it connected, the green wire to the tab, which is ground. I know it looks like a mess, but there's a methodology here. There's a connectivity. So, white will go to our center pin or our little cup, along with this red one from the XLR, along with a 39K that they provide. That's it. I think I measured this initially and said I thought this had another use, and it does. Okay, has to do with the bridging mono. Bridging mono. Okay, so there are three things that have to go into that cup over here, and that's going to be a challenge. I'm going to start the twist of these. Bring that 39K over and use him as a wrapper. cut. Well, that's got to be able to reach over to there. I'll deal with that later. Mm. I'm at 715 degrees on this one. I think I'm going to go a little higher, 725. There's a lot going on here. Ooh, that's ugly. I mean, it's on there good. But I spilled a little solder where it shouldn't have gone. I bridged a little solder over from the center tab over to the ground. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of this wick . Got some of it. Yeah, I goofed up. Gotta wick some of it away. Got most of it. Got it? Now I just want to make sure. I'm going to do a continuity test. I shouldn't have continuity between outer and inner. That's a test. No, there's no continuity. So I got the bridge. Okay, I just had a little too much. A little too much solder flowed down and created a bridge. It's cleaned up perfectly. It's part of learning and part of kit building. Things should never go perfectly. All right. Red, white to the middle, green to the ground. Now this resistor here, I'm going to push him under. And he's going to get connected to the bottom right hand side of the switch. Back to 700 degrees. No, I'm not going to cut that. That's very nice. Now, there's going to be a black wire that goes from the middle part of the switch down to there. solid core. It's a smaller gauge, according to the photos. Okay. There's one other thing I got to figure out. Okay, something I mentioned earlier as I'm speaking, looking at the back panel, I got it wrong. In my mind, I got it wrong. These twisted pair, duh. These are for the RCA inputs. These are for the low level signal. Of course, that's why they're twisted pair. Noise cancellation. I mentioned earlier these are the speaker binding posts, and they're not. These are the speaker binding posts. That's where I'm at now. So, sorry for that. As you make little missteps, you realize later on what's actually going on, and wasn't thinking. Just sometimes you get engrossed in things and you're not seeing the big picture because you're just wanting to do the immediate task at hand. So blue and black are going from the speaker binding post over to the circuit board. I was running out of wire, so these are the pieces I have left, and I think they'll be long enough to go where they need to go. Barely. If they're not, I'm going to have to make an adjustment. We'll find out. And these are stranded and they're larger gauge. So what I'm going to do is tin the ends because they're stranded. Give a little twist. Ooh, that's ugly. Just a little tin on the end. Same with the blue. Just enough to hold it together. Let's just do one side here. Now, black, I already had that guy going there. So I'm going to get him in like that. And I'm going to have to solder those two together at the same time. So I'm going to hold that guy up. Give him a pinch there. Bring them all together in the same place. Give them a little pinch. And I'm going to increase the temperature to 750. Run the risk of touching that. Nice. And blue. Will go into our, right next to our ground. Let's bring these both up. Nope. I'm going to bring him in from the back, if I can. And bring that up like that. And bring him over like that with a cross. Bend that back out of the way. $750. see if it'll reach the circuit board. Yeah, it will. It's going to be close. All right, same thing on the other side. And I'll go ahead and hit pause for this one. Actually, no. In case someone's building this. Blue and black, stranded. I'm using a 16. So once again, let's go ahead and tin. All right. So for this side over here, the black binding post only gets, he's only got a single wire. Yeah, I over tin that one. They're hard to bend when you overdo it. Let's go ahead and get that one soldered. Again, I'm at 750. Now the red, that was our ground strap, and then he gets blue. That's going to be ugly. I think we're done with the rear panel. Stereo, bridged mono. And it tells you how to connect, depending on the mode you're in. I just plan to use it on stereo. All right, that's the back panel. Front power switch wiring. Now it appears that we got to actually put this thing together to complete the wiring. What a mess, huh? Well, let's take a look. Let's see what we can do. You know, now it'll start looking like an amp. Remember, this was kind of hard to do. You kind of got to pull. There. It wasn't as bad as last time. Give you a look. I'm going to run this red wire here. To the front power switch. That's the next step. Circuit board, RCAs. Here's this. That's going to be ground to the circuit board. Black wires ground to the circuit board. That's speakers. That's a speaker, and that's a speaker. You know, we're not that far away from being done. Assuming it works. I make that assumption that the damn thing works. Not a good assumption. All right. We got our twisted power wire here. And it wants to go to that tab down there, the first one. And I got a little too much wire. Probably only need about that much. Straighten them out. Strip. Okay, these are still going to get twisted together right to the end. And then I'm going to twist the bare wires together. And then feed them through get a good tight mechanical connection first. Got that. I'm just following instructions. Well, notably, a lot of the instructions are just drawings. Got something I want to snip. Probably a little too much, but this is not going to touch anything. It's going to hover in the middle right there. Yeah, see, I already screwed up. Now the directions didn't jibe. Hang on. Okay. I didn't screw up, the pictures were just confusing. We got our twisted red from positive power input coming to our switch. I need two more reds that are going to fan out from our switch to the each of the circuit boards to an input. So I just cut two more reds solid core. Okay. Twist these together. Just want them held like that. All right, one's going to go to one side and one's going to go to the other. And we're going to go to red V positive on the circuit board. And here's where we got to solder from the top of the boards. I'm going to give you a close-up in a second. Now you don't want to, we're going to be soldering from the top of the boards, and you don't want to cut too much and have this poke all the way through the board and touch the heat sink and short anything out. I just want the slightest bit in there. little hump. Same on this side. But V positive is on the lower side.